Hello, fourth graders. Welcome back to Math. The last few weeks, we were in Unit 1 talking about place value concepts. This week, we're jumping into Unit 2. Unit 2 is all about addition, subtraction, rounding, and estimation. I am stoked to switch it up and put all of the things that we've learned so far into practice. We are going to be focusing on adding and subtracting whole numbers this week. Ready? Let's get into it. These are the essential questions and sentence stems for the week. Pause the video to read over them, but they are also available on your Math Blend page. Here is the vocabulary for the week. Feel free to pause the video to read over the words and see if there are any you may not know. Okay, so let's talk about addition. There are multiple ways to get to the same answer. These are a few strategies that you can use, and I'm going to go over all of them. There is strip diagram, base 10 drawing, expanded form, should sound familiar, show all totals, standard algorithm, and number line. Any of these strategies are great to use. I'm going to show you each one with the same problem so that you can see the same numbers being used in different ways. Let's go ahead and start with strip diagram and base 10 drawing and go from there, okay? Okay, so strip diagram and base 10 drawing. A strip diagram is just to help you see the problem visually. So if the problem was, I have 456 apples, and my friend gave me 278 more apples. How many do I have total? First of all, that's a lot of apples. It's the only example I could come up with right now, but we are going to be adding these two numbers throughout all of our examples. And a strip diagram is just this. It's making a visual of what I'm going to do with the numbers given. So in terms of addition, I have two numbers. I want to see what it is total. These two numbers equal the length of the bottom part, right? So that is all for strip diagram. For base 10 drawing is a really easy way to kind of just draw out and also see visually. So both of these are very visual based in terms of grouping and putting things together. So let's split this first number up by hundreds, tens, and ones. That way we know how we can regroup these together to make that total. So hundreds, how many hundreds do I have? I have 4 in the hundreds place, which is super important. Why we went over place value concepts to begin with in Unit 1. That way when you're putting it into practice for addition and subtraction, you know how to split these up based off of place value. So 4 is in the hundreds, so I'm going to make my 4 hundreds drawings. Each one of these represents 100, okay? Then let's split the tens. I have 5 tens, which means 50, right? 5 times 10 is 50. That's 4, 5. I have 5 tens. So I've done those two numbers, and then I have 6 ones. 3, 4, 5, 6. As you can see, I drew each of these kind of differently. If you go back to our place value concepts, remember, each of these was 100 pennies in $1. So this is 100 if you were to think about it in that way. So I have 100 here, and then I have base 10 blocks, which means 10 of these would equal one of these, 100, right? And then I have ones on its own. 10 of these ones would equal a strip of 10 here, right? Let's go ahead and split the second number up. So I have 2 in the hundreds. Okay, so I'm going to draw 2 boxes. 7 in the tens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and then I have 8 in the ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, you could do it one of two ways. You can start to add each of them up so you can see how many hundreds you have. Hundreds, tens, ones. And then you can just add your total and be able to put it into your strip diagram. So we can do it that way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 hundreds. Okay. That doesn't mean that the answer is going to be 600 and something. I still have to check and add up my other ones. So let's see this. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I have 12 hundreds. I mean, whoa, no, my bad. 12 tens. Now, 12 tens is more than one of these. So maybe I should split this up a little bit. How many of these does it take to make 100? It takes 10, but I have 12. So maybe I should regroup these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I am going to circle this and count that as a new 100. I have a new 100 mark. So now total, I have 7 hundreds. Then I have 2 tens left over. Okay, so all I did was regroup this because 12 tens was a bit confusing in terms of adding that back together. So what I did was take the 10 that create a new 100 and move that over. I have 6 hundreds here. I have 1 more 100 here. I'm going to make that my mark, right? So 7 hundreds plus 2 tens plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 ones. Again, I'm going to regroup because 14 ones that doesn't equal another one of these. So I'm going to regroup this to make a 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So all of these would make a new 10. So instead of 2 tens, now I have 3. I have 7 hundreds, 3 tens, and now I have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 ones. So if I add all of that up, 7 in the hundreds place, 3 in the tens place, 4 in the ones place. 456 plus 278 equals 734. So if I were to replace that in my strip diagram, 734 is this whole long block, and these two numbers equal this. So this up top equals the strip on the bottom. Okay, I'm going to show you the exact same problem in a few different ways. Okay, expanded form. We did a little bit of expanded form in terms of place value in the previous weeks. I'm going to show you how you can actually use the same strategy, but with addition. So again, we have the number 456 plus 278. I'm going to rewrite this because this might look a little intimidating to add up all of those numbers. You're like, oh, I don't know how to do that super well yet. So we're going to break it down by something that might look a little easier to the eye. So break it down by place value again. So I have 4 in the hundreds place. That means I have 400. If I'm expanding it and making the number bigger or stretching it out, it would be 400 plus 50, 5 is in the tens place, and 6 is in the ones. So 400 plus 50 plus 6, right? Then I'm going to break down the second number. I have 2 in the hundreds place, so 200, plus 7 in the tens place, 70, plus 8 in the ones place, plus 8. Now I'm going to add it this way. It is easier to add them vertically versus horizontally, just so that you can add one place value at a time. 400 plus 200, so 4 plus 2, add the 2 zeros, that would be 600. 50 plus 70, well, 5 plus 7 is 12, so 12 plus the 0 place value, okay? 6 plus 8 equals 14, okay? Now I have added the hundreds place, the tens place, and the ones place, okay? If I were to add these across, again, you can just keep putting them underneath, but if I were to add these across, 600 plus 120, 720, plus another 14, my answer still comes out to 734. So if strip diagram helps you, great. If the base 10 drawing helps you out, perfect. If expanded form is for you, use it. I'm going to show you a couple more, but hopefully this made sense and your place value concepts from the previous unit helps you. Okay, so show all totals is another way of doing expanded form. It's just going to look a little differently. It's kind of the in-between of expanded form and standard algorithm, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So in expanded form, we broke the number apart and did it horizontally, right? So 400 plus 50 plus 6. And the same thing for the bottom number. Now, for show all totals, I'm going to take each place value at a time, but I'm not really going to expand these. I'm just going to break it down right underneath for me to just do one place value at a time. And I keep saying that, so let me show you. Let's take the hundreds place. I have 4 and 2 in the hundreds place. So I know that that's going to be 600. 400 plus 200 is 600. I'm just showing less of my work, but I'm taking it one step at a time to make sure that I don't miss any of the numbers, okay? Then I'm gonna go into my tens place. I have 5 and 7, so that would be 12, but I don't have anything in the ones place, so I'm gonna put a 0. So 50 plus 70 equals 120, okay? I'm showing you in different colors just so that you can see one place value at a time. And then 6 plus 8 is in the ones place. 6 plus 8 is 14. You have to make sure that you're lining up your numbers well in terms of place value. I have 4 ones in the tens, right? So making sure that these are lined up. Then it makes it easier to add it all up together. So I have to regroup this. Now I'm going to add it all together. 4 plus 0, 0, 4. 2 plus 1 plus 0, or 0 plus 2 plus 1, 3, 6 plus 1, 7. Still gives me the same answer. 456 plus 278 equals 734, but we just did it in a different way using the show all totals strategy. Let me go ahead and show you standard algorithm and number line, then we'll switch to subtraction. Okay, standard algorithm. Don't let the name intimidate you. It looks a little long, but it's just the next step after expanded form and show all totals. We have moved into our numbers that are vertical, correct? But instead of starting with a place value from the hundreds place and working our way down, we're going to go ahead and start from the ones and work our way up. And I'll show you what that means. So starting with the ones place, you can, if you have a paper, let's say you're doing this in your math journal, or on a piece of paper on the side, you can always cover up the ones that you are not adding up. It is super important when you are drawing out the numbers to make sure that they are aligned so that you can see, I'm just going to draw these here. You just need to see that you are adding each place value at a time. A common mistake that I've seen in previous years that students do is that they don't align their numbers and then they're adding the wrong place value to a different number. It gets tricky. So if you can either cover it with a piece of paper, or graphing paper is really good to use when doing standard algorithm or lining up your numbers, whether you're doing addition, subtraction, division, which we'll get into way later, but just anything that helps you align your numbers to make sure that you're adding the correct place value up. So now that we've kind of split that up, I've kind of made my faux lines here. I'm going to start from the ones place value, work my way up. So when you're adding these place values though, there's numbers that you're going to leave down here and there's numbers that you're going to carry to the top. 6 plus 8 is 14. There are 4 ones, 1 10. The reason I left the 4 is because we added the ones. The reason I carried the 1 is because we're adding the 10s. There are a tens place value here, right? If you remember from base 10 drawing, we regrouped. That's the one that I'm regrouping and moving over to the tens, okay? So 1 plus 5 is 6, plus 7 is 13. I'm gonna leave the 3 and carry the 1 because we're 30. There's 3 in the tens place and another 100. We are regrouping that 100, right? So we don't want to just leave it here. Then I have 1 plus 4, that's 5, 6, 7, that's 734. I think that standard algorithm is probably the quickest if you understand how and why we're regrouping that way. This is something that can totally help you add up, whether it's a 2-digit numbers, 3-digit numbers, or more. Just knowing your place value and why you're regrouping and making sure that you're adding up well makes this a pretty quick strategy, but feel free to use whatever strategy works best for you, okay? Okay, so last strategy for addition before we jump into subtraction. Again, we have 456 plus 278. Hopefully by now you're kind of getting a sense of which strategy you'd like to use most, but feel free to play around with any of them. But for number line, you would start with the biggest number. That way you just kind of have that already fixed and stable. What we're going to add is the smallest number. So let's say I had 456 plus 778. I would put the 778 first and add the smaller number. Just makes it easier in terms of the number line strategy. But so yeah. Then I would start with each place value. Again, kind of going back to base 10 drawing, I would add them going one place value at a time. So 2 is in the hundreds place. I would just kind of make a jump. That's going to be my next point. I added 200. So what is this number plus 200? It would be 656. Okay, so I can kind of mark my hundreds place out. I've added that, I've moved forward. Then I'm going to add the 7 in the tens place. Well, I'm just going to make another jump, plus 70. I would then add the 70 to my number, and you can take it one step at a time using any of the previous strategies. So 6 plus 0, making sure that you're adding drawing the numbers and lining them up correctly. So 6 plus 0 is 6, 5 plus 7 is 2, or 12, sorry, carry the 1, 6 plus 1 is 7. So my next point is 726. Then I'm gonna add 8 because it's in the ones place. So I have a next point, 726 plus 8. So I have 6 plus 8, that's 14. So I have 3, carry the 1, 2 plus 1 is 3, and then 7, there's no more hundreds to add, so this would make 734 my mark. Number line, again, if that's easy for you to kind of see how you're moving forward in the number line, adding one place value at a time, breaking the problem down at each mark, then that's great. Again, use any strategy that's best for you. I also know that some of you can probably do it quickly in your head. That's impressive, but I would love to see your work on paper. How is it that you got there? What was your thought process? I really, really love seeing the work laid out in your math journal or in the tasks that are provided for you through Blend. Let me know what strategy you love the most. Let me know maybe what strategy is the most confusing. We can talk about it during Zoom small groups, but let's go ahead and jump into subtraction. Okay, subtraction. Some of the same strategies. It's going to look just a little bit different. I will do a different problem for our practice, but strip diagram, base 10 drawing, expanded form, all totals, because that would be really, really tricky. I actually don't know how that would work, but standard algorithm again. And I made a mistake on the previous video or clips. It's called an open number line. So not just number line, it's just open number line because you don't know where it's going to fall or land. Typically when it's just number line, it's because you're in between something, right? Like 0 to 1, if we were talking decimals, or 300 to 800 if you were trying to figure out something in there. So open number line is just because we don't know where it's going to land until we do the problem. So just correcting myself there. Just didn't want to retape everything. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into, again, strip diagram and base 10 drawing with a different problem. And then we'll work our way down from there, okay? All right, so subtraction, strip diagram, and base 10 drawing. Strip diagram just looks a little differently. You're putting the total number at the top, and because we're subtracting a number, you're trying to find what other number would add to make that total, right? So if we did it backwards, 273 plus something equals 451 or 451. 451 minus 273 equals something, right? So we're looking for that number. In the previous strip diagram example, I talked about apples. I'll stick to that. I had 451 apples. Friends came over and ate 273. That's a lot of friends, or that's a lot of apples to be eaten. But how many apples did I have left? So breaking it down into base 10 drawing, you'll notice that I'm only breaking down one number. So let's go ahead and break it down by place value. So hundreds, I have 4 in the hundreds. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 in the tens, making my 10 strip, or 5 strips of 10. 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then 1 in the ones place. I am going to take away 273. Let's start by the place values. So I'm taking away 200. Okay, I'm going to shade this in. Taking away 200. I'm taking away 7 tens. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've only taken away 5, but I need 7. So I'm going to have to break one of these down into groups of 10. So let me go ahead and cross that out and make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I replaced that 100 into 10 blocks or 10 strips of 10. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. I've now made that equal. I can cross that out and not worry about it, but I've only taken away 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tens when I need to take away 7. So I'm going to take away 2 more. 6 and 7, okay? Now I need to take away, so I've taken away 2 hundreds, 7 tens. I need to take away 3 ones. I only have 1 here, so I need to break down a 10 block into ones. I'm going to break this one down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I took a block of 10 and made it into 10 ones, right? I have 10 ones that would equal out to one of these. I would erase it, but I just want to make sure that you are seeing what I'm doing. I turned 100 into 10 blocks of 10. I turned a 10 into 10 ones. I've taken away 1 of the ones place. I need to take away 2 more. Okay, 2, 3. Now, I've shaded in what I am not counting anymore. I had 451. I've taken away 273. Let me just check before I move on. I have 200, okay, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 270, and then 3 ones. 1, 2, 3. I have 273 shaded and taken away. What I'm looking for, though, is this missing number. How many do I have left? How many are remaining, right? So I can totally either choose a different color just for you to see visually, but I'm going to circle what I have left, right? These are the items that I need to count to give me the correct answer. So I have 1 in the hundreds, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 in the tens. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 in the ones. My answer now in my strip diagram is 178. I have now added up whatever was left to give me that number to find my answer, right? So 451 minus 273 equals 178. So if you want to write that out horizontally, 451 minus 273 equals 178. This is how I would represent it in my strip diagram. 451 equals, if I were to add these 2 numbers up, these 2 numbers equal the number on top. Base 10 drawing, I drew out my biggest number, right? And then I shaded in what we needed to take away, and I added up the remaining pieces. This was a bit confusing. If it was a bit confusing, that's okay. I'll show you different strategies. If this makes sense to you, use it. Feel free to write this down or copy this in your math journal, or practice with random numbers. Have a sibling or a grown-up just kind of quiz you with different 3-digit numbers just so that you can get used to or play around with this strategy. But let's go ahead and jump into expanded form, okay? All right, so expanded form for subtraction is going to look a little different. Each number or each problem that you might run across is just going to have a couple of tweaks. This example that I'm using on purpose because you'll see in a second, but it won't always be the case for any other problem that you run across. So let me break it down and then we'll talk about it. So the same thing as addition, you would break each place value down and you would make the numbers, or you would stretch it out, make them bigger. So 451, I have 400, 4 in the hundreds, plus 50 because it's in the tens, plus 1, still the same. Then I'm going to subtract, we're not adding, we're subtracting. I have 2 in the hundreds place, so 200, plus 7 in the 7 in the tens place, that's 70, and then plus 3 in the ones. The reason I'm adding them is because 400 plus 50 plus 1 is 451. So that's why we're adding this way, but we're actually going to subtract this number from here, right? So now that I've kind of broken that down, so far the strategy is the same as addition. We're not freaking out yet. Here's where it changes a bit. Instead of adding, because the last time we used this strategy, we added starting from the hundreds place value. In subtraction, you want to work your way up. We're going to start in the ones place value because, like this example, sometimes you won't have enough from the number above in that place value, like this one. I cannot subtract 3 from 1. I'm going to have to regroup my items the same way that we regrouped in base 10 drawing. We're going to regroup our numbers here. I'm going to take this as slow as I can and break it down as best as I can. This isn't always the case though, because let me just show you real quick a different number. If I was subtracting, I don't know, 28 minus 13, I can subtract 3 from 8. That would be 5, and I can subtract 1 from 2, that would be 2. I started from the ones, I worked my way. I didn't have to borrow anything, this is fine. But this isn't the case for this problem. So again, this won't always be it, but I want to show you how this works. 3 or 1 minus 3, can't do that. I need to borrow from here. I'm going to borrow from the tens place value, so it's going to carry a tens place value into my 1. What? Let me show you. I'm going to borrow from here. This is going to turn into 40 because I took 10 away. I'm adding the 10 to the 1. So instead of 1 minus 3, it's now 11 minus 3. I borrowed 10. I moved it over. Now it is 11. 11 minus 3 is 8. Okay. 40 minus 70. I can't do that. This number is too big to subtract from here. I need to borrow from the I need to borrow from the hundreds place value. 400 turns into 300, and I carry that 100 over. This number, I took 100 and put the 100 over here. So instead of 40, I have 140. Now I can subtract. 140 minus 70 is 70. So this zeros would cancel each other out because I'm already in the tens place value. So 14 minus 7 would be 7. Okay, that was a bit confusing. Let me restate that. I borrowed 100, I added 100. Now I have 140 minus 70. I don't need those zeros because we already took care of the ones place value. 14 minus 7 is 7, so I have 78 so far. Then 300 minus 200. I can do that. I don't have anything to borrow from. This is possible. 300 minus 200 is 100. I don't need those zeros because now we're in the hundreds place value. I'm putting it in the hundreds place value. So this is the reason I knocked out those zeros is again because we were in expanded form. So basically 3 minus 2 in the hundreds place value is 1, right? So that's also what I did in the tens. This can be a bit tricky as well, but you have to be very diligent in checking your details and making sure that you're going one place value at a time before you move on to the next. It's very easy to make mistakes, so just be super careful, or cautious. So 11 minus 3 in the ones is 8, 14 minus 7 is 7 in the tens, 3 minus 2 is 1 in the hundreds, 451 minus 273 is 178. That was expanded form. Let me show you standard algorithm and we'll keep going through the strategies. Pick the one that works best for you. Let me know what you need help with or which one you're using or like the most during our Zoom small groups. But yeah, hopefully this is helpful. And if not, let me know. Okay, standard algorithm. This will make a little bit more sense having seen the expanded form. It's just that we won't have those extra zeros to cross out or not think about. This hopefully will help you kind of make that connection or link between the two. But starting from the ones place value, again, these are numbers that do not have enough to subtract the number from the bottom. So 1 minus 3, can't do that. I need to regroup. I need to move things over. I'm going to do that one step at a time. So 1 minus 3, I need to borrow from the number next to it. That's the tens place value. So that 5 would turn into 4. Do you remember when we did 50 turned into 40? We just don't have that 0 there anymore, but it still means the same thing. There was 5 in the tens, now there's 4 in the tens. And instead of 1 here, now there's 11, okay? 11 minus 3 is 8. 4 minus 7, I'm not looking at that 5 anymore, I'm looking at the number above. 4 minus 7, can't do that. I'm gonna borrow from the hundreds place value. This turns into 3. Instead of 400 turning into 300, like the previous example, it's just 4 turning into 3. Still means the same though. And then putting that 1 over. So I moved that 100 piece over. It's 14, you just don't see that 0 there anymore, but it still means 140. So 14 minus 7, 7, okay? And then 3 minus 2, 300 minus 200. Oh, excuse me, not 3. 3 minus 2 is 1. So gave me the same answer. It's just not expanded. I did it a little bit quicker, still got the same answer. 451 minus 273 is 178. Hopefully seeing the past or the previous examples or strategies helped you better understand how quickly you can do this one or why those numbers are represented in that way. Let me show you number line and then we'll get into estimation, okay? Open number line looks a little different. In the addition strategy or video that I showed you, I started with the biggest number on this side of the paper. So if you were to draw this on your paper, that would be what your left side. You would start on your left side and work your way up, adding more numbers. In subtraction, you're starting from the right side and working your way back or down towards the left, right? Because you are subtracting or taking away. So we're going to break this down by place value. 451, I would start with my hundreds. I would just make a leap. It doesn't need to be exact. You're not making any marks except for those things that you are subtracting, right? So my next mark would be minus 200. I can either do that in my head like I did in the previous strategy, or I can just do it really quickly to check my answer. So minus 200 is 251. So this mark, that next dot is 251. All I did was subtract 200. Now I'm going to subtract 70. 7 is in the tens place. I am going to subtract 70. So from here, subtract 70. Let's see, 1 minus 0 is 1. Borrow this one over, that makes it 15. I now have 181 as my next point, right? Then I'm going to subtract 3 in the ones place. So minus 3, minus 3. Don't have enough, so make that over. That's 11. That's 8, 178. So this next spot, or my answer, because I'm done taking away, is 178. So 451 minus 273 equals 178. I just broke it down by place value and took it step by step by step by step to get to the right answer. Moving down the open number line, we finally figured out where we stopped, found my answer. So hopefully if this helps you, wonderful. If the other strategies help you, great. Anything that works for you in terms of adding and subtraction is great. There's no wrong way to get there. I just want to I want to be able to see what you are doing, whether it's in your math journal or your problems online. Just make sure that you're showing your work and double checking your answers. So if I wanted to go back and do all of this, it's really easy to check your subtraction problems just by adding the numbers back up. So I can do that really quickly. 273 plus 178. And again, you can do that with any of the strategies. Just adding your numbers back up would be amazing. So starting from my ones, 8 plus 3, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, carry the 1. 7 plus 7 is 14. Plus 1 is 15. Carry the 1. 2 plus 3 plus 1 more is 4, 51. So I just checked my answer. On both addition and subtraction, you want to make sure that you're checking it with at least another strategy or by doing the opposite. Addition is just the opposite of subtraction, and vice versa. So try a strategy, come out with the answer, check it with a different strategy, and see if you get the same thing. Then you're rolling, you're doing great, and you'll get through this week just fine. But yeah, let me know if there's anything that you need from me, and we'll definitely be doing some practice problems during small groups, okay? Estimation. What does that mean? It just means rounding to the nearest 10, 100, or 1,000 before working out the problems, whether it be addition or subtraction. There's not a lot of strategy involved in this. You really just need to be looking at your place value and seeing what it's asking you to do within the question of the problem or the directions. And so I'll show you an example of each of these just so you can see what I'm talking about, but you should be totally fine. If this is something that you're struggling with or don't understand, let me know. But let me first show you an example of each, and then we'll go from there, okay? Okay. When it gives you multiple numbers, whether it's 2 numbers or more, but it's asking you to estimate or round, you need to look at each number first and just estimate those and then go from there. So right now I'm just going to give you 2 of each so it's not overwhelming, but if I was rounding to the nearest 10, so let's look at this 10s, don't look at this yet. 18 is closer to 10 or 20. Well, how do I know? Let's go back to our previous strategies from place value concepts. You're just looking at the next place value over. So if I have 1 in the 10s, 8, remember that for rounding, anything from 0 to 4 rounds down, 5 to 9 rounds up. Using this rule of estimating and rounding that we have practiced before, estimating should be fairly simple. So 18, that 8 means I'm going to move up because it's between 5 and 9. So 18 would estimate to 20. 12, I have the 2. 2 falls within 0 and 4, so I'm going to estimate down. 12 turns into 10. If the problem is asking you to add it, then you would just estimate that and add 20 plus 10 is around 30, right? So 18 plus 12 is around 30. If I was subtracting it, then it's around 10. It just means that it's like, where does it kind of fall in if I were to just estimate that quickly without having to actually add or subtract those funky numbers, right? I'm estimating in something that is clearly simple and easy to look at. So let's do the same thing as rounding to the nearest 100, looking at the next place value. 234, is it closer to 200 or is it closer to 300? I'm estimating by hundreds now. So looking again at the next number, 3 falls within this category. So we're estimating or rounding down. This would estimate to around 200. Okay, 397, that 9 falls between this category here, so we're estimating up, right? So again, if it asks you to add those numbers, this would mean that the answer is somewhere near 600. If it's asking you to subtract those numbers, then it would mean that it's around 200, about, okay? Estimating just means kinda, nearby, close, about, ish, whatever you want to use, okay? Rounding to the nearest thousand. So I have 4,873. Well, looking at my next place value is an 8. It falls in the category to estimate up. This would estimate to about 5,000. 6,489, that 4 is in this category, so I'm going to estimate down. Again, if it's asking you to add, it'd be around 11,000. If it's asking you to subtract, it'd be around 1,000. Okay, so estimating and rounding just means that you're either subtracting or adding these numbers, but without going through the mess of all the previous strategies that I showed you. You're just kind of finding the closest thing and being able to add or subtract those that much quicker. Some of the examples that you'll see will be like estimating maybe the population of cities, and it'll give you like a chart with all of these like really funky numbers of population of cities, and you're just going to have to estimate each one and then add or subtract those up and depending. So just be cautious and be looking at that and making sure that you are rounding or estimating the one number at a time. So if I'm estimating or rounding 234, don't look at everything else. You're not comparing anything. You're not ordering anything. You're just estimating to make sure that you're getting to the right answer just about. So again, let me know if you need help during small group, but hopefully this helps and made sense in breaking it down, rounding to the nearest tens, hundreds, thousands. You can do that for millions and on. But yeah, this kind of concludes this week's bit of strategies and such. So again, let me know if you need help on anything else, okay? Here are some images of anchor charts that we would have had in class, as well as ideas for tools that you can use at home. Pause the video to see if you understand each image or write down any questions in your math journal that come up. You can also copy these into your math journal to have as a quick reference. Here are some common misconceptions that could help you in working on this week's tasks. Please let me know if you need help, don't understand something, or are struggling. I'm here for you. All right, so I've cleared all of the previous weeks off the blend page, but you can totally still find anything from Unit 1 if you scroll all the way to the bottom of the math page. There is a link that says Unit 1 Place Value Concepts. If you click on that, it'll take you to the previous videos, assignments, etc. I'm looking forward to doing practice problems with you during our Zoom small groups and seeing everyone complete their graded task as well as their Dreambox assignments. Both are for grades this week. So let's have a great week together, and I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.